live, ladies and gents. Good evening to you. Always used to GoToWebinar used to say, "You're live. Welcome to GoToWebinar," and give you all that spiel. It doesn't anymore for me, but I still see the little green bar. So I look at it and think, is that what people are hearing anyway? Who cares? We're live. Good to see you. I missed you guys. I was just getting all prepared for this, and looking at the weather, as I do, being a Brit. And London is going to be 17 degrees tomorrow, and at a high of 17, high of 16. I feel like spring is starting to come. It feels a little bit better. But then for some stupid sadistic reason, on my weather app on my phone, I have things like Las Vegas, just to make me feel great. And I go, oh, Las Vegas is 35 degrees, 36 degrees high, 37. And I think, okay, great. 17 is fantastic. Anyway, enough about weather. How you doing, ladies and gents? Good to see you. A little extract from a book to share with you in a moment. The topic at hand. Not much going on. Well, I say not much. We had a big gap up across the equities. Dow was up. I'm sure Dow was up 700 points at one point. Not really followed through from the opening print. It's holding just about. I think we're waiting for FOMC and PPI tomorrow. Obviously, there's no expectation of a movement with the interest rate. It's all about the press conference. PPI important. Lots of stuff going on, of course, over in the Middle East still. Thursday, Bank of England. So if you're a cable trader, watch out for that. One extra thing I should mention, if you're not aware already, which hopefully should be, is the clocks have gone forward. I have to that little thing in my mind. Spring forward, fall back. Forward in the US, so Eastern Standard Time. So what does that mean for us in the UK? It means that, and this messes with my head. It happens every year, and I've known about this carried on for 25 years, and it still screws with in my head every time. I have a whole routine's built around 1:30 data, 2:30 open, 9 o'clock close. You know where you are. You go to the gym. You come back. You're ready for data. Everything's lined up. The algo's kicking here. But now all we do is we shuffled for an hour. So it's 1:30 open, closing at 8 o'clock. So data tomorrow will be 1 hour earlier than normal until our clocks go forward. When do they go forward? end of March, 8th, I want to say. So we've got a little bit of time. Someone let me know in the questions, guys, or the chat, wherever it is. And I did actually check, but I'm sure I'm sure it's 28th, something like that. Anyway, keep an eye on that. So it just screws everything up, just shuffles everything around a little bit. If you're calibrated to the US session and you're kind of maybe trading the European session, and then you come off when the Americans come on board, you've got to do that 1 hour earlier. It's the most simple thing, and it's the most basic. Just take one away, but for some reason it just screws with the calibration. Okay, right, let's run through and we'll get to stuff, shall we, boys and girls, ladies and gents. Good to see you all, by the way. We've got a decent turnout this evening. So far, so good. Good evening to you. Beth Maria says 17 Celsius, it's a lie. Yes, it feels like a lie sometimes. The wind is probably taking 10 off that. Grass is growing, Leslie. Yeah, it is. And starting to see, things, buds shooting out, and it's just nice, right? It's enough. I like spring. I do like spring. Grass is growing, and we hate the clock change very much. Yes, we do, Lana. Hi, Mark. You cannot hear me, Antonio. I'm pretty sure others can because I'm mentioning thing. That might be a reboot for you, Antonio. Hopefully you can sort that out. 29th of March. Thank you, Rhino. Good to have you back in town, buddy. 17 degrees is our winter, says Rowie. Some people in other areas of the world. Okay, well, wherever you are, I hope you're all good. Okay, quick roll call. Who have we got in here? Let's run through quickly. Arthur, good to see you. Adam, how you doing, pal? Alison, Andy, and I'm skipping through. Arno's on twice. Arno, you probably get an echo. How you doing, buddy? Barry's on, Beth's on, Bettina, Cataline, Craig, Ed, Errol, Esther, Felix, Foyle, Frankie, Gadge. That was Gary Mudge in one. Sorry, Gary. Gadge. It's got a new nickname, buddy. Maybe what is your nickname? Gary, Humphrey, Jacko, James, John, Jonathan, Coldip, Lana, Lee, Leslie, Louis. Lou Winthorpe, how you doing, buddy? I like your name. Luke Marinus, Mark, Martin, Michael, a couple of Michaels, Michaelis, Mustafa, Neil, a couple of Pauls, Peters, Rhinos in the house, Rob, Ryan, Rowie, of course, Roy, Sean, Simon, gentlemen, good evening to you. Ladies, good evening to you. Susan, good evening to you. Stephen, Thomas, Sven, Toby, Vadim, and Xerxes. Right, I've missed a few, but apologies. I know you're here, and thank you for showing up live. It's always nice to see you guys live. All right, if I may, a little extract from Mr. Ward's book. Had him on the podcast a couple of times. Great guy, knows his stuff. And actually, this is perhaps not very relevant to what we're talking about today, but I was talking to a trader about an hour ago, and one of the things we were kind of discussing was fatigue. He's trying to adjust his workflow so that is not already exhausted by looking at charts for so much time before he kind of has his trading window. And one of the things he's kind of talked about was, maybe I'm going to come to the screens a little bit later. I don't really need to be there so early. I'm not taking trades then. I can still calibrate. If I don't see anything, I'm going to step away. And we've got to remember ultimately that we don't have unlimited resources. We like to think we have, but our brain does have a limited resource. And there's a little extract from Steve's book here, and this is a great book because I'm a big fan of the Stoics. We did the Stoic series with Pepperstone, the webinar series, and Steve Ward does a lot of kind of taking Stoic stuff with trading. So this is a great book to have on your bookshelf. Fatigue makes cowards of us all. This is wild, right? In a study that looked at 1,100 parole decisions over a 12-month period, there was, so parole, I think in the US, right, it's where you're in jail, you get eligible for parole, you go in front of a board, the board says you've been a good boy out on the streets, or you're a naughty boy, you stay in for another 5 years. I think that's what it is. Not an expert in the US judicial system. I don't think we have it over in the UK. I don't know. Again, I'm not an expert in the UK judicial system, fortunately. So 1,100 parole decisions over a 12-month period. There was one variable that the researchers found dramatically affected the probability of being paroled. Right? You'd think, is it the crime, some heinous crime? People are like, oh God, this guy's done this. We don't want to let him back on the streets. Is it behavior in prison? Is it like all the little marks that you get that the guards put on you, that the prison officers put on, or report from whoever your wing leader is, or whatever? I don't know. Do you think that might be something that makes an impact on whether you're going to get parole? Actually, no. It's time of day. Prisoners who appeared early in the morning received parole about 70% of the time. Those who appeared late in the day were paroled less than 10% of the time. 70% in the morning and the afternoon, 10% of the time. Wow. Okay, now, what does that to do with trading, right? We're not training to be a prison officer here, yeah? Making decisions is energy dependent. This is where the trading bit comes in. When fatigue sets in, the brain has to make decisions with fewer resources, so it defaults to a neurological state known as cognitive ease. This involves a mandate of making quicker and easier decisions using mental shortcuts where possible. For a fatiguing parole board, the simplest, quickest, and lowest risk choice is to keep prisoners incarcerated. Wow. So, and it goes on, I won't read it. I do recommend page 198 if you've got the book. So, wow. Okay, what does that mean for traders? If that's a phenomenon that happens with the brain, I mean, those numbers are astounding, right? And you'd think it'd be a fairer system than that, but hey, I mean, imagine if you've been doing 20 years inside. You've done 20 years. You hope you're on parole for 20 years. You come out, you're like, and then they go, they got the last slot in the day. You're like, no, I've got probably another 10 years inside. Anyway, enough of that stuff. Trading. This is why we have to manage our resources. If we don't, we default back to, how did Steve put it very, very aptly, cognitive ease. And it involves a mandate of making quicker and easier decisions using mental shortcuts where possible. So from a trading perspective, if we are fatigued, if we are drowned in decisions that we've made all day long, and then we come to trade, there is a high likelihood and chance that we make the easy decision. And that might be for you cutting the trade early, right? It's tough. You're in a trade, you're up nicely. A nice, easy default decision with no real ramifications until later is to take the trade off the table. You're up, 2R, fine, great. Now, if you were looking at it carefully and considered, you'd be like, hey, well, this is a 6-hour trade. It's running nicely. There's no reason to cut it. But the easy decision, I'll just take the trade. And so you start making things like that. I'll just take the trade off the table. Another one might be, the easy trade here is just buying this breakout for a quick scalp. Of course, that's never an easy trade. There's no easy trade out there. You need to think carefully and be more considered. So just be mindful of that, ladies and gents. You know, we have a limited amount of resources, especially in there. And if you're someone who's able to sit in front of the screens, or even if you're not, if you're someone who's working, coming back to look at the screens, just be aware that you've made all these decisions during the working day or during the trading day, and now you're expecting to perform high-level risk-based decisions. You need to kind of have some sort of reset. You know, a little bit of exercise is always great to give you a little bit of a boost. Just letting the brain unwind a little bit, a little walk in nature, anything like that, that, you know, perhaps just gives you that extra few hours where you can kind of reset things, reduce the cognitive load a lot, and you can make the right decisions, even not necessarily, you know, outcome of each individual trade, of course, but you can make what you think is the right decision. So something to bear in mind. I thought that was very apt, especially with the discussion I had today with a trader. Right, let's go straight to the slides, shall we? We'll go straight to the slides. So today, trader identity and self-sabotage. Henry Ford said this, the famous trader, Henry Ford, famous trader, obviously, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Quote from a trader in a moment. This is going to be something, do you know what? I'll leave that for the moment. Let's just go through the usual stuff, ladies and gents, the disclaimer, of course. Thank you to Pepperstone for allowing me to talk about some of the things I think are going to help you improve your trading. I have to put this up, and I want to anyway. Risk disclaimer, please understand, if you're trading a leverage instrument, you're trading spread bet products, trading a CFD product, or anything like that, any complex instrument, there's a super high risk of losing money, right? Because of the leverage, because of the margin. Double-edged sword. When things work well, great. When things don't work well, you lose money fast. That can catch a lot of people out. I don't want you to be one of those people who gets caught out, leveraged up, and then on the wrong side of a trade. Deer in headlights syndrome happens more often than we'd like to think. Just don't be that person. Manage risk with stops, manage risk with position size, manage risk with things like fatigue management. Believe it or not, that's the sort of thing that can improve you know, or reduce the risk. Can never eliminate risk altogether. So just understand the product you're trading, or please only trade with money you can afford to lose, because if you're a developing trader, you do not want to be caught out just because you didn't understand the risks and stuff. So today, so let's recap what we've been. January talked about trading strategy playbook, mean reversion, momentum initiation, that type of stuff. Fired those at you. February went from strategy to edge, talking about how to pick the strategy for you, your lifestyle, your personality. Went through all that type of stuff. When you screw things up, the hidden sort of dangers in going down a rabbit hole that's not really right for you and stepping back. That was really good, I thought. This month we're talking about consistency and longevity. Today we're going to go what I call upstream, right, and into the thing that kind of sits underneath it all, which is up here, the psychology. I'm not a psychologist. I'm just a trader who's been trading for a couple of decades, so I'm no Steve Ward, but I have a lot of learned experience, and I also have a lot of experience chatting to other traders and working and workshopping through mental challenges in trading and being able to kind of combine those with the strategy and stuff. So I'm in a good position to not necessarily be a psychologist as such, but to really understand what we go through day to day in the trenches, taking trades, sizing up, doing great, stagnating, all that stuff. Ed Sekoda said this: everyone gets what they want out of the market. Harsh, maybe. And when I first heard this many years ago, I was like, come on, mate. Everyone gets what they want. No. I want to get stupidly rich. Everyone wants to get stupidly rich. Well, so everyone gets what they want. Why is everyone not sitting on here with a couple of £100 million in their pocket? You know, everyone wants to get what they want. That's why they're coming into trading, right? What are you on about, Sekoa? On your bike, pal. But actually, this is why this is, you know, when we talk about this today, if it's the right time for you to hear this, it's going to be perfect. If it's not, bookmark this and come back to this webinar. If you're listening to this and you may be early in your trading journey and you're like, this makes no sense, what is this guy on about? Trader identity, self-sabotage, I'm not buying it. Give me the meat, give me the strategies, give me the 90% win rate stuff. Come on. Then come back to this later, because, and just remember that you might not hit you now, but come back to it later. If you're ready for it now, it's a difficult conversation to have. A difficult conversation it is, because some of the things we have to look ourselves in the mirror and go, and the immediate reaction is going to be, it's not me, it's not me, it's not me, it's not me, it's not me. But if you're open-minded, you can often unlock a different level of trading and thinking, And if you kind of logic brains going, this doesn't make sense, doesn't make sense, just think in a moment some examples of how, you know, great traders, great business owners, great athletes have to change their thinking and identity to get to where they're going to go. And so today is all about that. Examining your identity as a trader, maybe shining a light on some self-sabotage you didn't really know you were doing. And your instant reaction is going to be no, 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 just like mine was, right? But if you just bear with it and just go, okay, I'll listen to this mug, see what he's got to say for himself, then maybe you might grab one or two things. And if you just shift your identity a little bit, that might just be the unlock to kind of steer you back on the right path. So anyway, Ed Secoto says this, and often if we're spinning our wheels as a developing trader, we keep ending up the same place. We do well and we kind of give it back. We do well, give it back, which is the path of many traders. Maybe part of that's something a little bit deeper than just the market regime. Maybe it's something, why are we making the mistakes? Why are we over trading? Why are we FOMOing to deals? Why are we oversizing? Why do we not stick to our trading plan? Yes, we've got tools and drills and ways to identify that and get over that. But maybe there's something, let's go even further back. Let's just not go to the well. I get frustrated when I have 3 losers in a row and that triggers me. Okay, fine. That's a given. And what about, okay, when I miss this trade, I get angry and I want to revenge trade. Okay, yeah, fine. This is level 1 stuff. But why don't we go back to how you think about yourself as a trader? And so none of this stuff is conscious thought, right? And again, I'm not the expert in this field. This is for you to kind of maybe get a little bit inspired and spark something in your brain and go, okay, I'm going to dig into it a little bit more with, you know, people who really understand neurobiology, is one of a better word, how the brain works, let's say. You know, but so I approach from a trading perspective, from a trader's perspective, just like you, and go and dig into more if it kind of resonates. So none of this is conscious stuff, but trading could be a self-image problem. And why do I say this? Because we traded a strategy, right? That's fine. But we all have an identity as a trader. And that identity keeps us within certain guardrails. And, you know, you can label yourself as I'm a learning trader, and maybe that's fine. But at some point, you don't want to be a learning trader anymore. You want to be a trader who's putting the throttle down and making it work and getting the results that you've been learning for. And if you're not careful, you end up finding ways of staying in that zone. A lot of traders say, I don't feel like a proper trader. Well, you know, your results show different. You've had decent level of consistency, and the returns you've got for the account size you've got is pretty damn good. So why is there identity? Why is there a mismatch in identity there? And so, you know, often that can drag you back, and your account and your growth can reflect your self-image. If you think about, here's something to kind of consider. Kuldeep says no audio. I hope it's just you. I hate to break stuff and I get the flow, and it really doesn't, I do not like doing this, but someone just give me a nudge that you can hear stuff. Sounds good. Right, apologies for that. Anyone else got audio problems, they can reboot and sort themselves out. Imagine this, you've always got a friend, right? We've always got this friend, and maybe he's a fitness guy, right? His identity or her identity is one of fitness. It's one of, okay, I'm a fit person. I'm an athlete. I eat like an athlete. I train like an athlete. That's their identity. If they put on weight, they bring it back again. If they reduce muscle mass, they bring it up again. Same as you've got, I would say, a fat person, right? Oh, political correctness, not, who cares, right? It is what it is. Someone who's obese, someone who's overweight, and that person will probably stay that way. They might lose it, but they end up putting it back on again. We've seen that, and maybe that's, you know, that maybe you identify either of those things. It doesn't matter. But the point is, it's the identity, and it's who you are subconsciously say you are that's bringing you back to there. Your habits, the way you know, because if an athlete got out of shape, they'll come back into shape straight away because like, I'm an athlete. That's my identity. And it's the same like with like high level business people. Their identity is, I'm not looking around, scrapping around for little deals. I'm looking for big kind of multi-million-pound deals that are going to move forward. Their identity is one of, I'm a deal maker. I do deals. I'm a good business person. I'm a good leader. I'm a good, you know, so it's exactly the same in trading, right? You've got this identity, a self-image that needs to adjust and adapt as you grow. And this is, it's not an easy thing to do, but a good analogy is a thermostat, right? So imagine if you have a thermostat, you set it to 20 degrees, and if the room gets too warm, by the way, if UK, I know, I understand the UK, not everyone's got AC. So imagine you're in the car. Most people drive a car, it's got AC. Say it's 20 degrees. You know what happens, right? If it gets too warm, the AC kicks in, cools it down. So if it gets to 25, 23, thermostat goes, hang on, it's too hot in here. I need to cool it down. AC kicks in, temperature comes down to 20. If it gets too cold, it heats back up. Heat kicks in, heats back up. It keeps it at 20 degrees. We have an internal thermostat here. We have something here which can adjust and adapt depending on where it's set, right? So, and this is kind of, if we look at the analogy with the athlete or the person who's out of shape, they have their thermostat set at that, and so if life sets them one way, they tend to come back, and not always, and generally what happens is when people shift, let's say someone gets in really great shape, then it's because they've shifted their identity, they've shifted that thermostat, and they've started to believe that they're an athlete, they've started to believe that they are, someone who is in shape. And the things with trading is, like, we can often self-sabotage things. We have a good run, then the thermostat kicks in, and you run, let's say 22, 23, 24, 25, the thermostat kicks in, and we go, this isn't normal, and we self-correct downwards, again, not consciously but subconsciously. And actually a bad run feels more comfortable because it's like, okay, well, my thermostat set at 18, I'm getting a bit too hot. A bad run feels like where I should be. And again, it's not a conscious thing. No one is saying, you're sitting there going, I'm really pleased I've had a bad run. I'm really pleased that I'm not getting what I want. No one's saying that. But this is why it's such a difficult conversation to have, is that maybe the calibration's wrong internally. Maybe there's something going on subconsciously that is sabotaging the growth. Maybe fixing that could end up like changing things massively. So what does self-sabotage look like here? It's quite subtle. It's things like, we ask ourselves, why did I do that? I don't understand why I did that. I was sitting there, all of a sudden I was doing okay. Next thing, I took a trade I didn't really want to take, end up being in the hole, end up adding to it, end up giving back all the profits and more. I don't know why. I feel like something took over me. Well, maybe something did, because self-sabotage shows up in a random trade, right? You have a couple of winning days, you have a good run. Well, I'll take this trade now. I'll be okay. That's your thermostat kicking in. That's you bringing yourself back. So that just feels, and again, weird to say. I know, weird. But if it's, and by the way, I've listened to multiple different things on this and studied this type of thing. So it's not me making this up. I'm kind of collating what I've understood and heard from others outside of the trading field, different areas of high performance, peak performance, and collecting this and kind of putting it in from a trading package. So it's not just me making this up. We do have this internal thermostat, and so subconsciously you start to bring yourself back to, hang on a second, I'm running at 20, I'm 18 degreeer, and so you start throwing a random trade. You got overtrade, you got oversize, move a stop, size up. In other words, breaking a rule, skipping the process. You start to default back to how your identity is, and that adds up and gets you back to where you are. The thermostat kicks in, cools off your trading, you're back down to 18 degrees, and subconsciously it feels comfortable, even in the moment you have this emotional, it's straining, I don't like this, but subconsciously maybe you're getting what you want. And that's what the Ed Secoto thing was, like, so confusing at first. Ed Secoto says you always get what you want, and then the hell no, everyone wants to get loads of money out of the market. We're talking about Ed, but hey, in reality, maybe it is. And later on, we'll kind of talk about how to reset this term, or ways to think about resetting this. Maybe we start adding obstacles for no reason, right? And sometimes, you must have been in a situation where you've just gone, I just don't know why I've done that. I really don't know why I've done that. It makes no sense. Everything was great. My plan was good. I was sticking to the plan. I was managing risk. And now I've just done this on a whim. I can't explain it. And you can't explain it. And you're just wondering, you're kind of scratching your head going, I just don't get it. It doesn't make any sense why I would do this. And that may be because the thermostat has kicked in, right? We're adding obstacles for no reason. We're making it hard for ourselves. I heard of the phrase, get out of your own way, get out of your own way. This might be it. You're acting like an anchor, pulling yourself back. changing the strategy mid-streak, I've put here, adding a new market, overcomplicating the rules. That's a big one. We've all done that. This can't be this easy. It cannot be this easy. I've made a decent R return with my simple system. Wow. No. Imposter syndrome kicks in. You start saying, I'm not a trader, all the stuff we talked about in the first couple of slides. And what do? You go, well, I must be missing something. Let me add another rule in. That'll make me a proper trader. That'll make me do this. I'll add another market. That'll make me, I'll find that rhythm somewhere. And actually, that's just you putting a spanner in the works, right? And it's not because you've done it considered an operational decision based on data and whatever you've got. It's because you're sabotaging and adding an obstacle, and you're not sitting back and saying, well, actually, look, I'm doing okay. I might not be where I want to be, but I'm doing okay. Relax, cool down. Let's just not ruin this. There's no need to. And sometimes, as I've said here, edge is boring. It's boring. It's not sexy. You're not trading in this kind of super sexy way that everyone's showing on Instagram. Oh, I'm scalping this. I'm doing this. I'm trading size. I mean, listen, maybe you're plodding away, trading your strategy, your edge, putting a couple of R in, a couple of R more, R down, a couple of R up, and you're just growing things slowly. And maybe you've got a modest account and it kind of feels like there's no real progress, but there is. If you're trading Stanley Druckenmiller's account, then that absolute number would look pretty decent. I'm talking about Druckenmiller. I watched the interview of his the other day. I think I shared it in my daily email. He did it with Morgan Stanley. He said he had imposter syndrome as a trader for 15 years. Right? He had a good track record. He had everything going, but he still kind of questioned himself as a trader and his value as a trader and the things he was doing and all this type of stuff. So, and that's Stanley Druck, right? That's that's one of the best. Obviously, he's more of a hedge fund manager and a macro guy than anything else. But he does equity trades. He does look at technicals. He has got a lot of a foot, I guess, in our camp, so to speak. But the brain is a funny thing. The brain will play tricks on you if you're not careful. Here we go. The not a real trader narrative. The amount of traders I speak to who are actually doing okay, right? They're doing okay, but the absolute number isn't some major number that's going to make massive difference to them. But you look and you go, well, look at the, what's your R unit? What are you risking? What's your risk reward profile? And where are you? You're doing damn good. And if those numbers had a few more zeros at the end of it, you'd look at it and go, be really pleased with it. But for some reason, you're like, I'm not a real trader, or someone who says, well, I only take one trade every couple of days. I don't understand about this. I don't understand about options. Don't understand about this market. I'm not a real trader. No, forget about that. You can't just dismiss some of the good stuff you're doing as a trader. And part of this is obviously the nonsense on social media about someone doing this, someone doing that, and it kind of embeds into your skull. And if you're not careful, you're subconsciously comparing. If you had a good month, give yourself a pat on the back. You're a trader. You've traded. You've had a good month, right? Don't say, oh yeah, but the market was easy. It's kind of as uptrend, and I didn't really. And if I've had different conditions, I might give it all back. Forget about that. Just focus on the growth that you've got and focus on what you're doing. And keep reminding yourself to keep that thermostat set as high as you possibly can. And often I see traders doing this as discounting their own evidence. They've got evidence, and actually by any objective measure, you look at that and go, you're doing okay. Even I know guys sitting at break even now, and I say, you're doing okay. It's the foundation for the next leg, right? You've gone through the mire. You've had some pretty horrible years. You've kind of recovered. Now you found something that's working for you. You found something that you're comfortable with. You feel good about the strategy, and you're sitting there at break even. You've got to get to that point before you go to the next leg anyway. So feel good about it. And then now, right, what do we adjust? What do we change? How do we peel things back? How do we do this, do that, to then start to take the equity curve up to the right direction? So, just thinking carefully about that narrative that you tell yourself. Here's another classic one that a lot of traders kind of do is raising the bar. And this is, we're so guilty of this, guys. And, if you can be guilty of this, someone's always got a bigger yacht, is the saying, right? You can always be chasing something. You can be there. They do these memes, don't they? There's a guy pulls up in a Ferrari, next guy pulls up and a Bugatti Chiron. The guy pulls up in a Bugatti Chiron, the next guy pulls up and wheels out his yacht, his whatever 100-foot yacht, and I've got 200-foot. You get the point. You always can be raising the bar. And that was obviously specifically focused on wealth, but for trading as well, you can maybe you make 500 quid in a week, or maybe you do. And you go, well, that's not enough. I'll go try and make more out of this. Maybe you get 5 trades in a row and you go, that's only a small sample size. You follow the plan for a month. Or let's see if I can do it. You kind of keep pushing that goal away. And so, I often say to traders like, hey, if I'd said to you, you'd be at break even when you were, when I spoke to you 2 years ago, what would you say? Like, oh yeah, I'd love to be at break even. Okay, great. Well, you are there now. Let's go to the next level. Or if I said to you, hey, actually, you know what? You'd have 3 profitable months. They wouldn't be massive and hitting out the park and life changing, but you'd have 3 profitable months. How would you feel? Oh, yeah, I feel great. Well, then don't keep pushing the goal. By all means, push for stuff. But if you keep saying, I'm not there, I'm not there, I'm not there, I'm not there, or the subconscious goes, not there, it's not there, it's not there, it's not there, it's not there. And it keeps damaging the way you approach trades. It damages the way that you do stuff operationally, like holding trades, cutting losers, sizing up, all the things that you need to do to bring things up together. And you kind of never let yourself win. And if you're constantly got the carrot that's further and further and further away, you never, there is no end goal. There is no end goal in trading anyway. But at some point, you got to say, you know what, I'm doing all right. I'm doing okay, and I'm improving, and I'm growing. So another thing is the fear of consistency. And this sounds nuts, right? It sounds nuts, but believe it or not, some people, and this may not be you, right? I admit it may not be you, but some people subconsciously go, well, I'm still learning, so that's why I can be poor. As tough as it sounds, sometimes you've got to look yourself in the mirror and go, I've learned enough. I've done enough damn learning. It's time to put into practice what I've learned and start getting the results that I want out of this. You can always say, I'm learning, I'm kind of, oh yeah, I'm developing trade. That's fine whilst you're doing that. But at some point, enough's enough. And you have to take yourself seriously. And that's quite frightening, because you can't then hide behind the results of saying I'm developing. And if you're developing, that's fine. You develop, you carry on trading, carry on learning. There's a time and a place for that. But if you've done your learning and developing, you no longer can say, well, I'm not getting the results I want because I'm developing. At some point, you have to say, well, now's the time to put action. And then when you don't get the results, you've got to look at yourself in the eye and go, well, I need to do something about this, rather than, oh, I'm learning. Hopefully you get what I mean here. And if you're not careful, you can stay in that phase for too long, and you don't want to be in that phase for too long, because I know traders, you never get out of it. They're constantly growing, they're constantly learning. And then the thing is, you often get where you can undermine consistency, and you may have done this as well. I've done this in my kind of trading journey, trading career. You do really, really well, and then there's always a but there. You're like, well, maybe I kind of, a lucky trade there. I got a bit lucky with that, or I'm not really in front of the screen as much as I should be. I'm not being productive. We had this discussion last week, question saying about the value add that we give to society, and you kind of, these reasons why it doesn't count as such, and we undermine the whole process. And what happens is the thermostat kicks in, and we subconsciously start making errors. We start breaking the trading plan. We start taking on more risk than we should. We start scalping when we said we wouldn't. We start doing all the mistakes we're trying to stop doing. And fine, we have got drills, we've got ways to deal with that. But maybe the key is to sort your identity out. Just get a grip of your trading identity and start to believe, actually, you know what? And we're going to go into the details here. I'm not talking about going in the mirror going, yes, I'm a billionaire trader, It doesn't work, but there's ways that we can do this. So let's keep going. Then hopefully maybe one of these will kind of go, yeah, you know what, that makes sense. I feel like that could be me. And you've got to be careful as well. You don't fall into the habit, right? A losing streak feels familiar. A drawdown feels like normal. Some of us are more comfortable when things are going wrong. Talking about people who are out of shape and in shape, you've got the people, and I've been both, by the way. So I'm talking from perspective of both here. Remember when I was in my early days as a trader, I'd absolutely ballooned in weight. At some point, I went, no, that's not my identity. I'm not the fat dude. Get rowing, get cardio in, sort the diet out, sort it out, right? And maybe you have too. But the point is, it's the thermostat, it's the identity. And if your identity is I'm a losing trader, draw down, then often you can bring yourself back to that. When you get a winning streak, you feel like something wrong. Maybe I don't. So just be mindful of this. Maybe there's enough kind of stuff with this. So you need to give yourself permission to be good at this. And this is not me being all Tony Robbins and rah. Yes, put your hand up and tell me you're great. Whatever, right? But at some point, you know this to be true. You know this to be true because if you hear some of the wizards talking, and you hear new traders talking, completely different language. The guys are saying, well, I expect to make the right decision. I don't expect every trade to win. I expect to prepare thoroughly and do a review of my trade. That's just who they are. That's just how they trade and how you should trade. So you've got to give yourself permission to do this, right? Permission to, give yourself potential to make money. Permission to be consistent, showing up, doing your prep, doing your pre-market routine, doing your journaling, doing the stuff that you know you want to do. And again, we're not burdening ourselves with so much stuff that it become guilty about it, but just say, hey, this is how I level up with things, and calling yourself a trader. You're not like, oh, well, I kind of am, and I kind of, the identity shift is so massive. If you're a trader, I am a trader. I make risk-based decisions. Whether you make one a month or whether you make one every minute, you're making a risk-based decision. Whether you're trading with £100 account or whether you're trading £100 million account, it does not matter. You call yourself a trader, and how does a trader? Okay, there's your standards. What does a trader do? Trader does his prep. Trader does her journaling. Trader does this. Trader does that. Trader takes trades. Trader expects to have some drawdown, but expects to end the week, the month positive or the quarter positive, right? And that's the permission that you've got to give, and that's the identity. And the problem is when we sit in, because trading takes so long to develop and grow and improve, we can get stuck in the same identity of developing. I'm learning. It's okay. Yeah. I'm sure. And fine. We have to have compassion with ourselves, and there's a balance here. There's no black and white, but sometimes saying, okay, now I need to adjust the thermostat slightly. I need to get out of the learning phase and take the safety net off and go, hey, now's the time to actually do something about this, right? Commit. Accept that you might fail, you might fall, but when you're in the learning phase, you've always got an excuse. I'm learning. But at some point you go, I'm done learning. I'm getting on now. Okay, and there's a difference, right? And I said there's a real phase of growth. You've got clear trajectory, you're learning, and fine. If you're in that journey, you stay there. Don't do anything else. You've got more to learn. You understand you've got more to learn. Got to sort out this, I've got to sort out that. Okay, fine. Do that. But at some point, you can't say I'm still learning. You have to say, right, my identity is shifted now to learning. I'm now doing, right? I'm getting on it. I'm not a student anymore. I'm actually doing it. So how do you spot this in yourself? And we'll talk about shifting this in a moment. Do we, or do you, I say we. I've traded with you guys. Just because I've been in it a couple of decades doesn't mean I'm infallible. I make mistakes like everybody else. Do we change something every time it starts working? Do we, when you feel really good about stuff, do you kind of go, well, I'll just make this adjustment, that adjustment? And what's your litmus test for working? Because some people's working is so ridiculous, it's never going to work for them. They're looking at some ridiculous return for the asset they're trading, or the account size they're trading, their R unit, and this is never going to happen, because unless something miraculous happens, or you over leverage a ridiculous amount. So sometimes, what does working mean for you? Recalibrate what working means. Okay, I've made a steady, decent amount here. I've done all right. I've not drawn down too much. I've stuck to this. Okay, good, fine. So you don't have to change things and start tweaking, adjusting, adding things, and going different strategy. Because you're chasing something that's probably you've got a completely different definition for working. Do you feel uncomfortable when things are going well? Most people are going to say no, and of course they are, right? And that's fine, because it's the subconscious really that has this message for you, and you've got to do some digging, and you've got to kind of say, well, maybe, and the answer is never going to be, yeah, I do feel uncomfortable when things are going well. No one's ever going to say that. But the breakthrough is when you go, well, I'm open-minded to think that maybe my subconscious is pulling me back here. I'm open-minded. Maybe I've got a story why I'm not where I should be, and maybe I need to rewrite that story. We've all seen TV programs where you've got people who are in a certain situation, and we think, well, you're in that situation because you're telling yourself in that situation. And reality, we can see from a different perspective, watching this program, watching this person, and go, well, if they thought differently about it, maybe they would be in a different situation. And it's something to think about. And if this is slightly resonating, then it's probably the identity. It's probably the identity you've given yourself. So what do we do about it? Let's enough of that stuff. Let's talk about solutions and how we shift this mindset thing. And like I say, I am not the expert in this, but hopefully it gives you a spark of inspiration to think about this in a different way. And this is not something that obviously people can talk about all the time, because it's quite unique to traders who are experienced, have longevity in the markets, and can kind of go, hang on a second, there has to be that mindset shift. So step one, notice it, right? And it might not be obvious, but if you find yourself repeating the same mistake or getting some results and then giving it all back, the feast and famine, maybe with trading, having a good run, giving it all back, having a good run, giving it all back. Now, sure, you can blame it on conditions and regime and find this kind of tactical reasons why, but maybe, just maybe, it's something hardwired in the identity of the trader, right? And then you kind of go, well, what are the moments that I cool myself right down? I start operating at 22 degrees and my thermostat set to 18, and my subconscious goes, no, that's not who you are. That's not how we operate, and brings it down. You know, and so start to think like this, and you start to see, you know, you see this in life as well with families and children in different areas and being brought up differently. Like, that's not what we do. We don't behave like that, or we're not like them. We're like this, and you kind of see what I'm saying here. Then that identity is built in, you know, as a child and as a human. Same with trading. Like, you've got to be careful that the identity is not stopping you from taking the opportunities that are there. It's not stopping you from stepping forward into something. So writing things down. I had a good week and I did this. And trying to observe the patterns that come and ebbs and flows with time. They're not instant, but if you find yourself doing really well and giving stuff back, then say, hang on a second, that's a pattern there. Am I self-sabotaging? Am I doing something that I really shouldn't be with my trading? Do I have good runs and then it's a disaster? In which case, why not work on my thermostat? Why not work on readjusting where I think I belong as a trader? Because a trader who had a different identity would not accept that. They would not accept giving it all back over a couple of weeks, that months of effort. They just wouldn't accept it. They'd stop themselves and say, that's not who I am. You know, just like we talk about the athlete. The athlete starts to recognize, hey, I've losing a bit of muscle mass. I'm starting to get a little bit, body fat starts to get a little bit more than I want. They do something about it. They don't just go balloon up to massive body fat and go, well, it is what it is. They go, whoa, hang on a second. I'm an athlete here. I'm a little bit out of shape. What do I do? And they've got tools and ways to bring it back. And their identity, their thermostat is helping them. So just think of it like this. So how do we rewire this thermostat? So we can't just change a dial. It'd be great if we could, right? Where's that dial? Hang on a second. I'm at 18. Let me just go to 28. Nah, so let's go to 35. We can't do that, right? We have to rewire things slowly. And this is about your standards and your thoughts aligning. To going off on a complete wild tangent here, and this is pretty much how it works, right? If your standards are high, you start to believe that you are a trader, a proper trader, a good trader, worthy of getting the results that are coming your way. You expect them, right? If you come in and you're prepared and you're sleeping well and you're doing all the things that support you as a trader, then you look back and go, and then you get the good results that I should do, because look at the result, look at the stuff I'm doing. I'm doing everything I said I'm going to do. My standards are high. My standards are one of a great trader. And now I'm going to bring my actual performance up to that as a great trader, right? And that's the key. If you're coming in and you're all sloppy, you could secretly, I don't deserve to get a good quarter. I've done bugger all here. I've not prepped. I've skipped a journal. I slid into the market when I wasn't really prepared. I took a trade on my phone when I was out and about. What is it? And so even if you don't articulate that consciously, subconsciously, that's there. So thinking, actions, aligning, doing these actions, doing the little things. And that's not doing everything. I don't want to feel guilty about, I don't do a journal, I spend hours journaling. That's fine. Just do the things that you need to do. I followed the plan. I did this. I did my prep, right? And then you say, well, actually, my identity's up here. My thermostat starts to shift. Of course, I expect to get good results. I'm doing all this good work. I'm missing trades that I should be missing. I'm taking trades that I should be taking. Of course, I'm going to get the results that I expect. And then stop discounting the wins. Number two is, when you get a good run and you get some wins and you get some success, you get some momentum, give yourself a pat on the back. So yeah, that's what you should be doing, because that's my identity. I'm one of a great trader. I'm doing the stuff that's aligning. I believe I'm a great trader. And I also have the evidence to support it, not necessarily with my P&L yet. And that's obviously the tough bit. It's okay for Stanley Druckenmiller to say had imposter syndrome in 15 years. He probably had 10 years of absolutely ridiculous returns. So, but if you don't have that, your standards and your preparation, the stuff you do is how you say, this is what I'm doing. I deserve to get a good outcome, and thinking that and believing that. And then you update the narrative, right? From I'm trying to become a consistent to I'm a trader who executes well. Example, you choose how it's spoken for you. You shift and you adjust how you speak about your trading, right? And and there's sometimes a subtle shift. And I don't know, you hear like guys on YouTube, like the I'm trying to think of the names now. Tony Robbins type people, you know, what's his name? Les Brown, all those guys, right? And they're fine, they're a bit cheesy at times, but they say some things that are pretty good. Like the way you say things, the way you talk to yourself is the difference. And examine how you speak about yourself. Like, I'm trying to become consistent. I'm trying to stick to my rules. No. I'm a trader who sticks to his rules. I'm a trader who waits for price to come to him. I'm a trader who prepares. I am that trader. And it sounds silly, I know. And as a Brit as well, it's like, oh, it sounds cheesy and blah, blah. But hey, you know what? If it gets the way you want to be, who cares, right? Who cares? You're doing it in your own office, you're doing it in your own thing, your own head. Say what the hell you need to get to the results, get the results you want, right? Who cares? But that standard and that on the work you do, and then the thinking and the way you talk to yourself, that thermostat shifts up a bit, 1 degree, 20 degrees, 21, and you start to kind of do that. And actually, whenever you take a next step up in your trading, especially if you're doing okay and you want to size up, the first work I always do and always say to do is to rewire the thermostat. You're doing okay at 20, you need to be at 22 now. You need to be comfortable with another 0 on that. And yeah, we're not sizing up straight away, adding another 0, but that's what we need to be comfortable with. I want it not to be comfortable where you are now, because you've got so much more potential there. And that's what a good, like, if you athletic coach would get out, coach who gets out, football guys, like, you know what, you could do so much better. You can get past those guys. You know, you take a shot from a little bit earlier on. You've got the speed, you've got the power, you've got all the stuff there. You know, and that encouragement. You've got to be your own coach, right? Now, there's some coach going to help you with this. You've got to be your own coach, and you've got to rewire that thermostat and change your thinking, change the way you approach trading, and just change what your expectations are, and not get stuck in the rut of, oh yeah, I'm going to develop and trade on this, on that, and the other. Don't allow it to come into your skull. This is not allowed. It's like, okay, fine. I don't have maybe this massive boost in equity that I'd like, but I've got this consistency in showing up, consistency in investing in my growth, reading these books, doing my journey, doing this. There's your standards, okay? And now you think, and that slowly shifts the thermostat around. Deep one tonight, guys. It was a deep one. I will admit. This is not a usual thing, but as we're on the theme of trying to make these things stick, I had to share it. I want to share it because I believe it's a really big, important part, an important role, and it's something very difficult. It's difficult to understand. And listen, will we ever understand it? But I think just being open-minded and saying, okay, yeah, maybe I do need to shift my identity a bit. Maybe I'm a little bit stuck with right where I am thinking about my trading. Maybe I need to think a little bit differently about growth and stuff. So if I can help you, ask the questions. I'll try my best. I'll guide you to other resources that are maybe will answer this stuff better. Again, I come from a trader's perspective here. Next week, we're going to talk about building your own trader's operating system. So putting everything together to create something that is right for you, the strategy, your blind spots, your mindset, stuff like this, so that you can go, right, I know where I'm headed now. I'm going to roll with that for the next quarter. Deep one tonight, ladies and gents. I will admit, a deep one tonight. Okay. Let's have a look, Ski. Have we got any questions? Have we got any questions? A few people saying thank you for your feedback, guys. All good for the audio. Martin, I find it so hard to be consistently profitable trader. It's so frustrating. I guess the I was thinking about this the other day. What's your definition of consistency? If you've been trading, you know, you want to be every day profitable? No, it's never going to happen, right? In my spells of that, fine. Never going to happen forever. Every month, every quarter, every year, a decade. Like, you know, what's your judgment here, and is it realistic? Like, and does it even matter? At the end of the year, if you say, "Oh, I've made this much," but actually January, February were flat, I made a really good March, then April was okay. Is that okay for you? Probably is okay. So maybe you're seeking something that's not actually obtainable. And this whole, you know, that's the whole problem of, like, you know, the markets sometimes aren't in the rhythm that you want, and that might be a day, might be a couple of days where you do nothing, might be a couple of days, and when you force stuff that's not there, that can really set you back. And so if you've had a good run, which I'm guessing you might have, Martin, by saying this, you probably give it all back. One, it might well be the identity, and two, it might be you just need to step back and accept that actually that week you may not be doing anything, and that's okay. That's normal. You know, it's the normal route. Adam says, I actually stopped calling myself a trader as I had the classic psychological issue of carrying my bad week or losses into the weekend. I found calling myself just someone who trades and focusing on the fact there's more to me than trading help. Do you think I should reframe this a different way and bring the trader label back for long-term success? Adam, that's a good question. Now, there's a couple of elements here. Very good point. You absolutely are doing the right thing by saying your identity is not staked to your performance as a trader. That's deadly. That is deadly, man. You know, because you can have a bad run, you can have a week that didn't go your way, your weekend can be ruined. You had a great week and then you kind of gave some back on Friday, make a few mistakes, and you carry that through the weekend. And what a waste of a weekend. So yeah, you absolutely should. And something I was very, very late to do is have identities elsewhere. You're a father, you're a husband, you're a business owner, you're a sportsman, whatever else it may be. Fine, those things are value to you, because it's absolutely screws with your head if you stake your identity to your recent trading performance, because you feel like $1 million and you're swagging it around, you made all this money and great, and next week, oh, you're in drawdown. You can't live like that. You're blowing your kind of emotional curves like rank. So yeah, there was a point there where, you know, you have to focus on the fact there's more to trading, and over time you'll smooth that out. Over time you'll say, you know what, I don't care about a crap week, it's all right, man. You kind of, there's periods as well where you go, you know, I've not long had this where I was like, oh, this is really should have got some more traction here, and you're kind of sitting there, but that's where you lean on experience and go, it's okay. And then all of a sudden, great couple of trades come in, your equity, you're like, okay, yeah, that's better. But the trouble is, if your identity gets too much staked into the lack of performance, and perhaps the year hasn't started as you wanted, all of a sudden that can really spiral. So you've got to kind of have an identity, and you've got to feel comfortable, and you've got to step things back. Maybe wearing the different hats is useful, where you say to yourself, hang on a second, I am a trader, but maybe again, fine tune it for how it works for you, mate, right? If you label yourself as a someone who trades, that's fine, but the standard of how you do that is high. I put this much effort in, my standards are high, so I expect good results. Now, I'm also mature enough and a long-term trader, I've been in the trading game long enough to recognize I ain't going to get the results when I want them, how they're not going to come in a nice linear fashion. I recognize there's going to be a bit lumpy in this, and so I'm not going to stake my identity to it, but actually my standards are going to remain high. It's a lot about standards ultimately. Rhino, how you doing, buddy? I love your name, mate. It's such a great name. I don't know if I assume it's a nickname. If it's not, your parents are cool. Thanks, Mark. I really connected today with everything you said. Appreciate that, Rhino. Try implies failure and everything. Yeah, it does. I'll leave a quote below. Do or do not. There is no try. Philosopher Yoda. Perfect way of putting it. Perfect way of putting it. Try gives you an out. Try gives you an out. And I listen. I've told you these guys before. My journey to do 100 kilogram bench press. For some of you, you're doing that easy. 100 kilograms is quite a lot, right? And I found myself going, yeah, but you know, mate, I'll injure myself, and yeah. No. You're gonna do it. I don't know when I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna get the 100 kilograms. I ain't far off. I'm probably sitting at a personal best of like 90, mid 90s or something. I've not even done it recently, so I'm not like a miles away. But I kind of found myself going, hang on, if you approach trading like you're trading like you do the gym, you'd be crap. What are you playing at? And so, yeah, you've got to be careful. It's like you do it, but you also got to kind of measure it and say, you know what, maybe it's not going to come when I want it, but I'm just going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep doing the things that I know are going to help me move forward in that. And for the 100K, it's like making sure I've got my, doing the specific regime to train the chest, making sure I'm eating the protein. Same with trading, right? You identify the things and so your standards come up and you say, well, it's inevitable I'm going to hit it. It's inevitable. I don't know when, but it's inevitable. If I keep doing the things I know that help me get there, I will hit the levels that I want to hit. And if anyone's doing more than 100 kg bench, you can DM me and give me some tips, man. I'm sure it's a technique thing now. It's got to be a technique thing. I'm close. I'm so close. I just get fired up and then just do it. Okay. Thomas says, thank you, Dr. Mark. This was the one. Yes, you're welcome, Thomas. Mr. Winthorpe, you can develop a trading persona instead of changing your entire identity or the alter ego you take on when you're trading. Yeah, that's a good perspective. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And actually, maybe we do that subconsciously, right? If you're a father, you're a husband, you're whatever, you're not going to come in with the same aggression if you're a CEO of a business as you do to your kids, right? You same personality, but you kind of, hopefully you're going to measure it slightly. Your KPIs are out. Eat those eat those honey nut loops, whatever the hell cereal. Ain't going to happen, is it? Yeah, that's not a bad way of doing it. I don't do that, but I can see how that would be effective. Ed says, thank you, Mark. Thanks, Mark. Great session. Thank you, Ed. Appreciate your feedback. Appreciate all your feedback, guys. I really do. Thomas says here, I'm still really struggling with everything you were talking about, the gap. Mate, I get it. I hear you. I understand you. And it's just trying to find a way through, trying to identify, this is a whole topic, but trying to identify the biggest domino for you. What's the one thing holding you back, and work on that one thing at a time? Is it you're over trading? Is it a discipline issue? Is it a strategy issue? Is it your standards? Is it your thinking? The good thing about doing this and elevating your thermostat is that you can start to future pace who you want to be as a trader. How do they look? How do they act? How do they behave? And start to deploy some of those things in your day-to-day trading. And the gap won't shrink instantly, but ultimately over time, you start to, because the difference is you start to say, well, yeah, of course that P&L is going to be chunky today because I've done the work. Yeah, I expect nothing less. Or, yeah, of course the quarter's good. Why wouldn't it be? Market was right, right place, right time, good conditions. I was on point, made a few errors, but so what? And it just changes because your thermostat, the expectation is higher. Martin says, some months I lose, some I win. And that's okay, Martin, if you are on balance, doing okay. If you, and obviously the frequency of trading, right? If you're kind of picking your spots a couple of times a month, and that's fine. If you're a day trader, maybe then there's an issue here. Tomorrow, where are we? No, Friday, listen to my podcast if you don't already, tradersmastermind.com, Spotify, Apple, wherever the hell else it goes. I've just recorded it, and this will help you actually. This is, is it this one? I might be giving you duff information here. I think I'm giving you duff information because I recorded one, realized that actually I've done something similar, so I did something else this one. No, go back and listen to an episode where it's I stuck at break even, try this. And the objective you have, and that may be where you are, is you're trying to find the worst chunk of trades, 10%. I'm going to really quickly go through this. Worst trades, best trades, find the common theme in your worst, find the common theme in your best. Roughly speaking, try and find a filter you can put in place that reduces those worst trades just by a few and increases the best trades by a few. Again, is it regime? Is it after is it a certain condition? Is it a certain setup, certain this? There'll be something there. You can work on that. That's how you shift from break even to actually getting the numbers in your favor. I've gone through it quickly, but I think I did a podcast on that. I will just check that because I want to help you out, not just fob you off. Spotify, Traders Mastermind. How many have I done now? Wow, I've done quite a lot. Stuck at break even, try this. I think it's that one. So go and check that one out. If it's not, send me a message. I've done something where I really got into detail about that exact situation. Sean says, where can watch last week's replay? Would have been the website. Pepperstone will send that out. And yeah, it comes up on the site, Traders Mastermind, when it's available. Thank you, Sean. I've missed some. Dominic, I missed your question. Sorry, pal. Great session as ever, Mark. Thank you, Dominic. Quick question. Do you think the idea of not telling people that you're on a journey to becoming a consistent trader, mainly because people scoff at the discipline, how to tell your friends ensure? I love this question, mate, because there's two schools of thought, right? One is if you're stating your goals in public, then you're going to hit them. But the other is like we both know people laugh. People are like, "Ah, you idiot. Yeah, how you doing? Yeah, yeah. Where's your yacht?" Or, you know, I remember when I was in my journey, and I remember it so distinctly, right? You know, I started trading when I was still at university, 21. Lads would go on a Friday. I'm like, no, I'm going to watch the Dow. Like, what? Why? You know, and I just loved it. I was watching the Dow. I'd be watching, you know, after lectures and just kind of really getting into it. And they're laughing like, where? And then, but then, you know, you speak to some of the guys, catch up with them years later. They're like, mate, you know what? Fair play to you. You didn't come out of us, and now look, you're doing all right. Yeah, well, you know what? I did the time. But back to the question. I think share your goals and your desire with other traders. Don't share them with random people because they don't get it. Like, how you do today? Brilliantly. I lost money, but I stuck to my plan. They're like, what are you on about? You know, I really felt like the urge to trade, but I didn't. Well, either don't get it, nobody gets it. Nobody gets it. And we know this. So don't, I would say, be careful doing that. Find other traders you can speak to, your trading pod, trading community, whatever it might be. And they all, that's why there is a value there. And I'm not, it's not me bloody shilling my own community, but there's a value in a group of traders where you can understand each other and go, I get you, mate. Yeah, I understand you. You know, Dominic, I get you. Right. Okay. What's your goal? Let's have a chat next week and discuss it. So short answer, careful speaking to non-traders because they just don't get it. But find traders who do get it. And even if they don't trade like you, they still get the journey you're going on. Okay, let's skip through these. Keep them coming though, guys. I'll get through. I'll stay here till every single question is answered. If you got to go, understand. Overrunning again, I get it. I won't black mark you because you left earlier. They even know you're still on it. Okay, Sean says also where can watch last week's replay. Oh, I've just answered that question. Well done, Mark. You genius. Lee says thank you for this session. Thank you, Lee. I started learning in 22. On the 8th of December 25, I stopped hiding behind I'm learning and have transitioned to being a trader who executes well. Good man. Good man. Hope it's going well. How is it going? Update me. Toby says, one of my favorite sessions. Thank you, Mark. Oh, you know what, guys? I didn't know how this is the caliber of attendee here, of trader here is high. And I sure expected nothing less. You appreciate it, and I'm glad you have. You never know. You never know. And I appreciate that it's hit the mark and you get what I'm trying to say here. And I'm not going, oh, your thermostat's wrong. And so, blah, blah, blah. I appreciate it. So that's good. Good. You guys are good. All right. Toby says, favorite sessions. Thank you, Mark. Wait for it now. Wait for it. When you started trading larger and larger sizes, how did you adjust to become comfortable to those amounts without the evidence that you could not self-sabotage back to a comfortable account size you were used to? Sizing is, you know, this is a complete other topic. It's different for every personality. Some people need to go quite lumpy and have looked at evidence and then move up. Some people just go, I'm going up regardless. Some people, yeah, not many. Shock therapy works. I just got to do this. But the thing is with sizing is that it's training your brain. It's getting used to it. For most people, it's incremental improvements. You don't even really notice it. So you do, let's say you do 1 unit, you do 1.1 unit, 1.2 units, 1.3, 1.5, 1.6. So you get used to it. So you're changing and stretching. At some point, you size up and you start thinking differently about the trade. That means you reached your maximum sizing for that sequence and you need to come back. So whether that's a quarter, or that's a few months or whatever it might be, so kind of a quarter. And so you go back. So you size up until you start trading differently. You start thinking, oh, that feels a bit uncomfortable. You back off a smidge. Then you sit at that level for a while until you feel comfortable. Then you squeeze the rubber band up again. So let's say at one point, so imagine your R unit is 1, whatever that might be for you, 1.1, 1.2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2, 2, 2.5, you start going, oh, okay, I'll back it off to 2.3, 2.2, 2 even, sit there for a bit, and then get comfortable, bed in, and then go up again, 2.2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 3. Okay, and so it's just trading that game of stretching the spring, let it contract, stretching the spring, let it contract. And also, the big thing here is when you do adjust the size, don't make a deal out of it. A lot of people go, I'm going to do new size, I'm going to be on point today, I'm going ready, yeah, Monday morning, man, I'm going to smash this thing, go in, first 3 trades, they lose, and oh my God, you can't do that. It's got to be controlled and steady. All right. Do your best, not trying. Correct. Rhino says there's nothing better than your best. Yes, good way of putting it. Trying is, yes, we're doing our best. That's it. We're doing it. Sean says, thanks a lot for this tonight. Appreciate you, Sean. Andy says, thanks again, Mark. I recognize a lot of this. Good, mate. I find reflection is the key for me. Every time I disappear down a rabbit hole, I have to take stock again before it's too late. Yeah, self-awareness, reflection, understanding you as a person, your personality. We're all different. And it's that super self-awareness to go, hang on a second, just drag myself back. When you got into trading, did you think we'd be talking about all this type of stuff? You probably did not. There's all strategies and all these nice fancy things. And oh yes, it's the VWAP and it's the moving average crossover, and the real gains, the real growth is in here. Thank you so much. Great session. Thank you, Alison, for the feedback. Beth says, thanks so much for a great webinar. Beth, thank you. Thanks for coming on. Good to see all you guys. Martin, thank you. Thanks again. Mark, Leslie, appreciate you all. Thanks for the ChatGPT leads. Been a huge help for my trading. Jonathan, yes, hopefully that's ChatGPT is great. I've actually just written drafted a piece about switching to Claude, but you can read that in the email. I find it slightly better for some things. Wait for my daily email for that. And Marinus, a couple more. Marinus says, thanks, Mark. Self-reflection is the key. Absolutely is. It absolutely is. We must be honest with ourselves. And when we're not, I think that's where we can go wrong. Yes, the subconscious knows when you're lying. The subconscious knows. You can't stand in front of the mirror and say, I'm a great trader. You have to. That's why the actions have to be there. You know, actions and thoughts. You can't just think yourself to being a great trader. It does not work. Your actions and thoughts have to be aligned. And the actions are, I prepare. I treat this with respect. I stick to my plan. I might make mistakes like everybody else, but and so those actions are there, and then the thoughts are there. Boom, that's where you get the growth. You can't just have the actions and not believe. You can't just believe and not have the actions. Those have to be congruent. I think that's when you get the rocket fuel that kicks you up to the next step. Thank you, Lana. Appreciate you. Thank you. Jonathan's a bit sad face about ChatGPT. I read it with an open mind. Nothing wrong with ChatGPT, mate. In fact, it's really good for voice mode. I've just been messing around with other ones because I find ChatGPT at the moment asks you, it's like a bit clickbaity at the end. So I tried Claude, but there's nothing wrong with ChatGPT, mate. It's really, really good still. Claude's just another way of looking at stuff. And the voice mode in Claude sucks anyway. So ChatGPT wins from there. All right. Shall we call it evening there? I appreciate you all. I'm just going to quickly grab this because I want to see the amount of questions we have. Okay, and we'll call it evening there. Back next week, we'll put all this stuff together, wrap it up with a little bow, cherry on top, hopefully give you the Traders operating system for the quarter that you can use. Glad you enjoyed this one, ladies and gents. Appreciate you all. See you next week. Don't forget, we've got some risks headline tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.